Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910, the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. And we're going to talk a little bit about Obamacare. I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing mortgage investment firm, and Patti Cohen of Pacific Union Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down. 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. Quick mention here, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. Vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover those housekeeping expenses. Check them out at lighthouseresortandmarina.com. I'll give you a phone number for them too, 916-777-5511. Check them out. Today's trivia theme is TV series that became movies.
All right.
That'll be kind of fun. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. Our special guest today is Tim Staley. Now, who is Tim Staley? Okay, now you guys know I'm an expert in life insurance and disability insurance. But when it comes to health insurance, I go to the man. And the man is Tim Staley. He was referred to me, and I put him under the microscope, and I got to say he knows more about Obamacare and other aspects of health insurance, honestly, than anybody I've ever met. And the funny thing is, I'm licensed in that area, but it's like an attorney who's an expert in certain areas but not in others and refers it out. So I refer this type of business when it comes to any kind of health insurance to our friend Tim Staley. Tim, welcome to The Best of Investing.
Thanks so much, Edward.
Okay, so I understand that I understand. You know why I understand? Because I've been getting these crazy letters that there's been some changes in Obamacare.
There certainly have, and they've probably blown your mailbox up a little bit with all of the paper that you're getting, not only from Covered California, the Obamacare program in California, but also from the carriers, because many of them are making changes this year. The most important thing to keep in mind right now with Covered California is that it's open enrollment time. This is the time of year when anybody can enroll in Obamacare, look at what their options are, make changes if they want. It started on November 15th, and it goes until February 15th of next year. And it's really important that if you're already in Obamacare, this is also a time where you can make a change up until December 15th. And those changes can take effect at the first of the year.
So is Covered California Obamacare in California? In other words, do I have a choice to do something other than Covered California, or is that really what the insurance is for us California residents?
In California, Covered California is the brand name given to the Affordable Care Act implementation in California.
Okay, all right. Because I see all the billboards and the happy advertisements on the TV, and Covered California, get covered, California.
That's right.
So what, is it different in California than in other states? Do we have our own special formula of Obamacare here?
The formulas and calculations for the amount of tax credit that you receive with the health coverage, depending on your income level, is actually the same across the country. It's all determined based on the federal poverty level, percentage of federal poverty that your adjusted gross income meets. And the reason that's important to talk about adjusted gross income is because many people that are buying health insurance on their own are self-employed.
Yeah. And
when you're self-employed, you have business expenses, you have a number of expenses, you may have carried forward losses. There are a number of situations that if you look at your 1040, a lot of lines come before adjusted gross income.
And also, if you're self-employed, you can have extra billings or hold off on your billings, so you can kind of manipulate your income to qualify, because there are definitely times when you can get your premium down to like $1.
Probably, yeah,
right?
really?
Yeah, because the credit is so large. If your income is a certain amount, I should let you explain all that.
Well, and Edward, that's really a good point to make, and it's important to keep in mind, despite when you look at Covered California and their information, the reduction in your premiums at the end of the day are just a tax credit. That's really how it's calculated. They try to make it simple and dumb it down, if you will, on a monthly basis. But the reality is most people buying health insurance on their own have a variable income. They're self-employed, they're a consultant, they're a contractor of some sort. Their income will vary every month. And so it's really important when you're looking at those tax credits to anticipate what your adjusted gross will be next year.
So what do you find that most people don't know or don't understand about Obamacare in its, or the Affordable Health Care Act, Cover California, in its current incarnation, now that we're in our kind of our second year of implementation? What do you find that most people don't really understand about this opportunity?
I think the first one is the tax credit situation. The way that it's phrased in Obamacare is cost reductions or premium reductions, when it makes it much clearer for my clients. I always explain that it is a tax credit. Regardless of what they tell you it is per month, it will settle up when you file taxes in the following year.
But it doesn't show up actually on your 1040 because you're anticipating how much it's going to be, right? Do you get like
You're
a bill?
anticipating. When you file your income tax for the year 2014 in April of 2015, it is on the 1040 now, the amount of credit or premium assistance, if you will, the tax credit that a person's received, and that will be factored out when the person files in the following year.
So they'll have known ahead of, well, how does your accountant know how much credit you, I guess I'm a little confused. Let's say the premium, make it really simple. Let's say ordinarily the premium would be $1,000, but because of all the tax credit, because you anticipate your income low, $995 is the credit, so that you're only paying $5 a month. When you do your tax return, what shows up? Because how does anybody know that you claimed that you're only paying $5 during the year, anticipating your income low?
You will receive a 1040 type document from Covered California telling you how much tax credit you've already received. In that case, it would be about $940 that you paid in premium, and the rest would have been tax credit. So that would be much as you receive a statement from your mortgage company, for example, on how much mortgage interest you paid, or how much dividend income from your broker. It's just another form you'll receive, and then of course it's reported to the IRS and we settle it.
So two of the primary things that the Affordable Health Care Act was enacted to do was, number one, provide an opportunity for the uninsured to get health care, but number two was that, according to the president, we were going to save all of this money. And there have been a lot of articles recently, I've seen some blog posts and other articles in the Wall Street Journal and elsewhere, saying where some of the key people who were involved in implementing Obamacare are now admitting, well, there's probably not really going to be much in the way of cost savings there, but at least everybody got insurance. So is that how you see it, or is that not a fair characterization?
Well, now you're asking for me to make some political statements, which I'll go
Oh,
on at
please
that level.
do. We like political statements.
Sitting where I do in working with this, one thing I will say is that I have not seen reductions in premiums. If anything, I've seen premiums go up.
Oh my gosh!
And I've seen
tremendous amount.
A tremendous,
Yeah.
And I've seen deductibles go up. The other thing I've seen is the amount of choice go down precipitously. I can't
Choice
tell you,
mean coverage choice or doctor choice, or
Doctor-
when you say
doctor
choice,
choice.
it's a doctor
choice.
There's only one witch doctor on it. Everybody's got to go see him.
And the other thing I'll say about the Affordable Care Act is that the political situation in Washington does not help, in that we have one side of the aisle saying, let's repeal it,
Yep.
and we have the other side saying there's no problem. And the right answer is, I think, somewhere in between. And there's one flaw that I experienced in the law this last year. It's a flaw that health carriers can change their doctor network at any time. A physician's group or a hospital can drop them at any time, yet the individuals participating can only choose once a year. So it sets you up for an automated built-in opportunity for an insurance carrier to, I hate to characterize it this negatively, but to bait and switch.
Yeah, they go ahead and collect all these premiums and then go, oh, by the way, all those doctors, no, they're not in the plan. Tell you what, Tim Staley, stay with us. Before we cut to the break, though, some people are probably going to want to call you. We're going to do this twice. So
Sure.
How do people get a hold of you? Because we know you make like hundreds of millions of dollars helping people out with Obamacare. Actually, it's almost
Hundreds of pennies.
Hundreds of pennies.
Hundreds of pennies, that's sure. It is very much a pro bono type effort, okay, if you go
I've
there.
heard.
But they can call my office at 415-924-0600. 0672, or email me, and the email I'll give is my company email. It's tim@cpsadvisorygroup.com.
Okay. All right. Stay with us, Tim.
Thanks.
All right. So we're cutting to the first commercial break, and the trivia theme is TV series that became movies. All right. Who starred as Mrs. Brady in the movie version of The Brady Bunch? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Who starred as Mrs. Brady in the movie version of The Brady Bunch? All right, stay with us because the best of investing will be right back.
I think I know how to guess.
Oh, Mark, that's your
What?
that's an extra DVD.
Yes, I already parked it away. Thank you. I figured it was.
Did that go okay? I tried to.
Oh, you were great. You were great.
You have a great radio voice.
Yeah, actually.
Oh.
Kind of Gil Gross like, got that deep, throaty voice.
Yeah. No, you did. You did
I try
very
not
well.
to drink. If I drink too much coffee in the afternoon, my voice gets.
Yeah.
If you need some water, because we've
No.
got water back here. I did. I was getting that froggy
Actually,
back there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because Tim's very good at being very specific on things,
Love that.
which is good. And I was hoping you did what you did because no, it's very good.
Had another question, and I knew we were going to go to a commercial, and I forgot it, so I'm going to try to remember it again.
I'll grab the water.
Asked about what people might be surprised about.
Here. This is all real good for you.
What we call it Obamacare.
Obamacare.
Bummer.
I have Kaiser. I'm thinking
I do too.
And they're
yeah.
expensive.
very expensive. I spend like $1,000 a month, but I also have my son on there. It's just me and my son, and it's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, we're at that age where that's what it costs. Well,
Yeah.
I've got 4, because I've got 2 girls, and we're at $1,600 a month, something like
Yeah.
that. But it
It's
covers
Everything. I love Kaiser.
it covers everything except my wife brings my daughters to all these, you
Yeah.
know,
Out of
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Oh.
they have special, you know,
Yeah.
things going wrong, and my wife believes in, you know, homeopathic and other types of care.
I do
so,
too.
and plus she wants, you know, alternatives to,
Yeah.
you know, just care for this
that's
pill.
why
So,
Eva's the same way.
so
and
we
I
spend
told
a
her,
small fortune
I pick
every
you too.
year on other doctors outside, chiropractors,
Yeah,
massage
exactly.
therapists,
so the only reason to have it is for the big ones.
sports. Yeah, for the big
I know.
one,
For
right?
the big one,
yeah,
right?
right.
So do you have a large deductible?
Large enough. I mean, the annual is it's some like 1,000. Well, you have to spend a certain amount on an annual basis. So, but I don't remember. Yeah, some of that stuff. I actually never go. It's
No.
I never go to the doctor.
Well, it's kind of when you started talking about income, and I didn't even look into that at all because I'm good with Kaiser, I love it. But then I'm thinking I'm spending $1,000 a month, and being self-employed, there's times when I
Can we
am
talk
having
about the
rental
costs a little bit?
properties.
I mean, is that even a fair
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
Is it
I
just-
mean, we can.
looks
It's
bad.
this is how simple it is.
okay.
So
Sure,
if I
yeah,
can
that one,
explain this in 3
geez.
sentences.
That thing was
What it is, for example, your
It's a
family
spreadsheet.
2,
Yeah.
and this is adjusted gross,
Okay.
which remember is self-employed person, depending on how many expenses you're putting above. So a family of 2, any income below adjusted gross below 62,920, you can get some form of premium assistance or some tax credit.
Like, I wonder what does that mean though? What would the
That was a
premium be? I wonder.
Well, your $1,000 premium, that's pretty typical on a Kaiser.
Oh, so Kaiser, you can do this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
See, that's a good question.
This
because,
is
because
great.
one thinks of Kaiser as just as an HMO.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well, and it's still HMO.
true, but I
Just
mean,
buy it through
it
the-
just-
I had
it's-
no
it
idea.
almost seems like apples and oranges, though.
Yeah.
I had no idea. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Let Mark
Let's bring
answer
that
the
up.
question. Yeah, that's the one you gotta be really careful with. Okay, you all set? Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff of Pacific Private Money and Patti Cohn of Pacific Union Realty. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question about TV series that became movies. Who starred as Mrs. Brady in the movie version of The Brady Bunch?
Was it Shelley Duvall?
Close. You had the first name right.
Shelley Long.
Shelley Long.
Ah, okay.
That's right. Remember she was on Cheers?
That's
Okay.
right.
We are in the studio here with Tim Staley, who is the man when it comes to health insurance.
And
There's
Obamacare.
And Obamacare, yeah, Mark and I were, talking about how we hardly ever go to the doctor. And for me, every time I got an issue, I just say cut it off. I don't care if it's a finger, a foot, or whatever.
Or other appendage.
Yes. In fact, okay, can I tell a really quick joke?
Sure.
Okay, actually I got two jokes, but I'm going to tell this one really fast because I said about cutting it off. So this guy's in a prisoner of war camp, all right, in Nazi Germany, and he does something wrong. And so he says, just for that, we're going to cut off your right hand. Okay, so they do that. Then he does one more thing wrong. Just for that, we're going to cut off your left hand. He does one more thing wrong. Just for that, we're going to cut off your right foot. He does one more thing wrong. He goes, what, are you going to cut off my left foot now? He goes, oh, no, absolutely not. He says, why? He goes, we think you are trying to escape. Okay. Got that out of the way.
So Tim, I'm covered with Kaiser, and I don't think it's under the Affordable Health Care Act. I have the same plan that I've been on for several years. Is Kaiser an available option under the Affordable Health Care Plan?
It is. It's one of the carriers that are on there. Some of the more common carriers are Anthem, Blue Cross. You'll also see Blue Shield, HealthNet, Advantage, Health Partners. There are quite a number of carriers that are available.
So is it possible for me that I might actually save money getting Kaiser through the Affordable Health Care Act, or do you think maybe my what they call grandfathered policy might be less expensive? Do you have any idea about that?
Well, it would definitely be worth checking out and looking into, because one thing that's a little bit surprising about the law that many people don't know is that on the Affordable Care Act, the only way to qualify for the tax credit is to buy through Covered California or in other states, the exchange. And so if you buy it directly from the carrier or from an agent, or if you buy health insurance from me through the carrier but not through Covered California, you will not qualify for the tax credit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't cost any more to use someone like Tim.
Correct.
So you might as well get someone to help you out with it.
And even if you're just curious in the meantime, you can go to the Covered California website. There are some nice tools that you can just play around with and see what a tax credit might be.
So I'm confused. Say someone already has Kaiser. They obviously didn't buy it through Cover. Do you undo it and buy it again, or how does that work?
You would buy a new policy through Kaiser. You'd have to compare the benefits and just see that they're similar to what you're experiencing, what you're interested in having. Compare them side by side and then compare the cost. Most of the Kaiser plans are pretty similar to the ones that they're selling.
Yeah, because there's no more pre-existing condition issues,
Correct.
right? Okay, that was one good thing that they.
Oh, it's a really good thing, because it used to be when you buy health insurance, it was about a 30-page application,
Yeah.
where now it's about 10 questions.
Wow.
So how has the Affordable Health Care Act made your job, an insurance broker of health insurance, how's it made it more difficult?
He's got more gray hair.
More gray hair, absolutely. To be perfectly honest, I was not doing a lot of healthcare before Covered California. It's something that I originally became involved with to buy my own policy, because I was buying health insurance. I was one of the millions that was canceled, and I had to buy a new policy. And I thought, as an insurance agent, I received a solicitation from Covered California that said, hey, you want to get certified and do this? I thought, why not? Look into it. Well, it's confusing enough. I started getting a lot of calls.
I got that same page. I threw it in the fireplace. There's no way.
Maybe I should have, looking back.
No, you've been a very very good agent from that standpoint, I gotta say.
So you've got this spreadsheet I'm looking at that you brought with you. It's got all
Don't go
these
into it.
numbers on it, and I'm trying to figure out, is this a fair question, or is there too many variables? The question is this: how much would a typical, if there's such a thing, health insurance policy through Covered California cost for a family of 4?
So for a family of 4, I'll just give you a couple examples. In a family of 4, if somebody has an income under $95,400, and when I say income, that's adjusted gross income,
The AGI,
They
that
can-
line on your tax return.
they can still qualify for some form of tax credit. So that's a pretty decent income for a family of 4, and that's the nationwide number. So it is really a good idea to look at Covered California and see what those tax credits might be.
But the gross premiums, though, were just outrageous. I mean, everyone thought, oh, great, insurance premiums will go down, but they went up skyrocketing, and then they go, oh, but by the way, we'll give you a little bit of a credit, and it's like, that's still, money is money, and that's negative.
But you get that credit once a year when you pay your taxes, and you have to pay it out of pocket as you go along. That's the thing, that's the hard part.
But don't you anticipate that?
You can anticipate it. The way that it works is you can wait and take the credit all at once, or Covered California will advance it to you on a monthly basis and reduce your monthly outflow.
Wow, no wonder people are confused. I'm confused.
Yeah.
And I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm an insurance guy and a numbers guy, and I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then you got your bronze and your silver and gold, right? There's no platinum.
Gold, platinum.
Platinum?
Absolutely.
Wow. Is there diamond?
No, platinum's is high.
Platinum's high. Okay.
Diamond certified.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's your typical, the higher the deductible, the lower the cost.
Right.
What do you find most people choosing?
I found a lot of people looking at the silver level plans because a lot of my clients are qualifying for what are called cost sharing reductions. This is a little nuance in the law that makes it even more confusing. But at certain income levels, not only will they receive premium assistance through tax credits, but deductibles and co-payments and maximum out-of-pocket numbers are lower than some of the other plans, either the gold or the bronze. And so the reason to look at those plans is, in many ways, a person can get almost a platinum level plan at a silver level price.
This is why you need the expert.
Oh,
And-
totally.
yeah,
I could
yeah.
never do this on my
You
own.
can't do this on your own. And before we cut to another quick break, there is also a change between PPO and EPO. You want to give us just a quick little...
Well, sure. With one specific carrier, HealthNet, which happens to be in Marin County, one of the carriers that offers the broadest range of physicians, what they did for 2015 is change from a preferred provider to an exclusive provider option. What that means is preferred provider means that you can go to an in-network preferred provider, pay preset co-pays and deductibles, etc., but you could also go out of network and receive care, but at higher deductibles and higher co-pays. With exclusive provider, the word exclusive means you're covered exclusively by those providers. If you go outside, you pay it all and have no coverage.
It sounds like what I have with Kaiser. If I go to Kaiser, it's all covered.
Correct.
If I go outside of Kaiser, it's out of
Not
pocket.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And exclusive,
That's a good example.
it is. Exclusive provider is much that way. You have to stick to the providers. And I'm sure with HealthNet they did it so they could keep their premiums in line. They have a pretty broad network. We certainly hope that network is going to go forward for the EPO, the exclusive provider. Because
Well, can you get also, like, if say there's a certain doctor you like, can you ask them to join the network?
you can ask them, they may or may not, but they may.
They may say, "What are you nuts?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do they have to qualify? I mean, like, or can they just join if they want to?
If they want to, they have to work out a deal between them and the carrier. There's a contract actually that they will sign with the carrier. And the thing that prevents some doctors from signing with certain carriers is the amount of the payout. You may notice on your health insurance that an office call may be $180, but the negotiated rate is $85 or something like that. Well, that 85 the physician looks at to try to figure out, is that really going to be enough?
Tell them to make it up in volume.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
That's with so many of them that they have to try.
All right, Tim,
Next.
I'm sure a lot of people are still going to have a lot of questions. I'm sorry if you do get inundated with phone calls from people, but go ahead. You got to give that phone number out again.
Sure. My phone number at my office is 415-924-0672, or email me at tim@cpsadvisorygroup.com.
All right, Tim, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
You can hang around if you want. We're going to talk a little bit about some real estate stuff and other kind of fun stuff. I got a couple of, no, that's for next week. Nope, that's for this week. Something about, Mark and I were talking about time value of money before, and it was really kind of interesting. Okay, we'll get into that when we come back. So here's our second trivia question. Again, the theme is TV series that became movies. Who starred in the movie version of The Saint? Now, if you remember the show, that was with Roger Moore prior to him being James Bond. So who starred in the movie version of The Saint? The first three callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Who starred in the movie version of The Saint? And stay with us because when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about time value of money, and we got a couple of interesting emails from listeners. Stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back.
I know that one too.
You know that one too?
Yep.
Wow.
That was one of my favorite movies. I loved it.
You know, it's funny. I haven't seen the movie version. Was
Oh,
it
you
good?
gotta see it. It's really
Is it good? Okay.
Oh, totally entertaining. You'll love it.
All right.
Very well done.
Okay.
He's great, and the woman is great.
Da 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 da. That was the theme song.
I don't, but thank you for that.
One thing we did to make this thing even more confusing, the way they designed this law is that if you have up to 266% of the federal poverty level, then your kids under 18 go on Medi-Cal. And so it was a way for Medicare to get expanded exponentially. But when you think about a family of 4 making $63,000, their kids will be on Medi-Cal, which is, why do that? And then the thing about making people buy through the exchange, that's one that all that does is prop up these government bureaucracies. And try to call Covered California. It's an hour whole time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
That's good.
And yet the carriers have gotten there. That if they had just set up the tax credits and let people just buy, you would have had big insurance agencies that would have had good service.
Yeah.
And they would have, you could have done the same thing without creating these big bureaucratic.
Exactly.
It's really, it's crazy.
So, let's just say,
Good.
I'm going to call you
Okay.
or email you at some point. I just want to know about Kaiser. I would go, if I did go through that, nothing would change except that transaction.
I'd have to look at
Okay.
what your deductibles, co-pays, all of that are now and compare it to the plans they have.
Oh, no, I meant in like going forward the care and all that. I wouldn't have to go through this group. I just call Kaiser the way I know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, once you buy it, you're just,
Yeah.
in fact, Kaiser kind of takes off. Should I stay or should I?
Should I stay or should I go now?
Because you may want to, you can feel free to comment. It's just a bunch of people hanging around a bar.
All right.
Yeah.
Just like Cheers.
That's right, just like Cheers.
Where's the drinks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, well, there's one.
Vodka.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Patti. Here's our second commercial break trivia question. Who starred in the movie version of The Saint?
That would have been Val Kilmer.
That would have been Val Kilmer.
Before he gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That infamous shot of him at the beach looking like Jabba the Hutt.
Really? I haven't seen that one. He was also in Top Gun, too, wasn't he? I believe he
much
was. He
younger
was
version.
yeah, exactly. Okay. So, I tell you what, before we get into a couple other things here, we have next week another special trivia contest. And the winner is going to get, this week it's the special trivia contest. The winner is going to get 2 tickets on the Hornblower. So get gifting this season with Hornblower cruises and events. Surprise coworkers, friends, and family with festive adventure on our holiday cruise. Enjoy chef-prepared gourmet meals, spectacular city lights, and holiday-themed entertainment. Skip the usual stocking stuffers this season and give everyone a gift they'll remember for years to come. Visit hornblower.com or call 855-538-7590. That's a great idea for a stocking gift. Is Hornblower. You've been on it before.
Oh, it's great.
It's
so
great.
much fun.
I love the food there. It's like a floating restaurant. Okay, so here's the trivia question. A recent survey indicates that guys do this about once a month and women do this about 9 times per month. And keep it clean, people. Keep it clean. Okay, so here are the rules. Email edward@bestofinvesting.com the answer by midnight tonight. And next week we will pick from among the winners of correct answers and randomly choose a winner. Okay, so I wanted to get into something before we get into email time and all that. Time value of money, all right? So first of all, the stock market. I was reading last week that the stock market, like in 1972, on a specific date, October or whatever, or November or something, in 1972 closed over 1,000 for the first time in history. Now, it had hit 1,000 in the 60s and then went back down, but it closed at 1,000, a little over 1,000 for the first time in history in 1972. Now, the market right now is at 17,700 or something, right? Take a guess as to the rate of return if you invested at 1,000, right, 1972, and it's now worth 17,700. What do you think the annual rate of return would be?
Wow.
And this is compounded on a monthly basis.
So we're talking 42 years, over 42 years.
And it went up 17 times.
And compounded. Wow.
Compounded.
Probably about 7.2.
Well, you're not far off. 6.83. Not bad.
Nice.
Not bad.
So
You got a
almost
computer in your head
7%.
there.
So
Yeah. So
interesting.
I mean, a lot of
if you
people
had
think-
kept the money in and maybe kept investing over time, and
No, just
never sold.
Yeah, basically just put your $1,000
Oh,
in
oh.
and walked away, and then just said, hey, how much?
And is that reinvesting dividends? Is that,
It's just basically the market being at 1,000 and the market now being at
Okay.
17,000.
What is that return over 42 years?
Exactly.
Got it,
So
got it.
I think a lot of people assume that it's oh, I must have made 12% on my money, or even 9%, right? Because you hear how much has the stock market performed over so much time?
Right, it
And
was
the
up
answer's always
24% or whatever that number was in 2013, for
Yeah,
example.
like 73 and 74, the market got just creamed. In 75, early 75. So anyway, it's just strictly going 1,000 and then going up to 17,000. So here's one other thing. The reason I bring this up is in Marin they mentioned that a water plant upgrade was going to cost $3 million to upgrade this water plant, versus the original cost was only $25,000 back in 1894. So people are trying to the assumption is, oh my gosh, $3 million compared to 25,000, right? But the rate of return, that's only 4% a year.
Wow.
So in theory, $3 million is pretty cheap.
So my father bought a brand new 1972 Camaro, and I believe he paid like around $3,000 for the car
Yeah.
when he bought it new, fully loaded. So that same Camaro today would probably be what, around 35 to
Yeah.
$40,000. So, can any of us do the math that quickly on what
No,
that internal rate of return is?
there's an app you can
But you know what?
Exactly.
So I don't know if the stock market's kept up with the cost of living.
No,
but,
well, no, in cars, no, that $3,000 back then would have been a lot more than $35,000.
Right. Well, the distinction there, 2 words: planned obsolescence. How
Yeah,
long do cars last?
That too. Okay, you know what? Let's get into email time, and then we'll get into the articles in the next segment. Okay, so Patti, we have an email that is right up your alley here. What have you found to be the most cost-effective ways to spend money on your house getting it ready for sale? It's a good question.
It is a great question, and especially with HGTV, consumers are very informed about what to do. It's not like the old days where people basically didn't do anything except take the dishes, wash the dishes, and make sure that nothing was in the sink.
Clean the carpets.
Yeah. So number one is just cleaning and decluttering. Everybody should do that, and believe it or not, some don't. And then the question is, are you going to sell it vacant or are you going to sell it lived in? Well,
lived in
you know,
worse
are you
than-
going to live?
yeah.
Are you going to live there or not? Because it used to be that's what you did, and up until the past 10 years, a lot of people, I'd say the majority of people move out, and then they prepare their house. They either stage it or they don't. Most people stage. That's California. Rest of the country, not really.
You mean it just goes vacant? Or they,
Well,
or they,
no.
you're talking
No,
about
they live in
living-
it and
they're
sell
living
it.
in it?
Most of the
I see.
country, they're living in it. You get the
'cause they
cooking smells.
They can't afford to buy
Cooking smells.
another
Yeah.
house until they sell that one.
We had
Yeah.
fish last night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The spices and the ethnicities. Oh yeah. All over the country.
Oh, and artwork and stuff, and
Yeah.
people, it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
And different cultures. I mean, they don't do anything. But so minimally, clean it up. Pretend no one. If you're living in it, make it look like nobody lives there. Take everything off counters. Declutter.
Let's just move all the furniture in the backyard.
You could do that. Have a
Just
little
don't show them the
bonfire.
backyard.
And it's okay to put things in the garage. People always ask, just declutter. And definitely 100% clean. Even bring in a professional cleaning service, do windows inside and out. That's just minimal. Then the next step is, do I stage or not? And that's another big
Yeah, because
question.
that's more expensive. I mean, just cleaning windows is a few $100s. That's not so bad. And I
Right.
understand about the garage part because, in theory, garages are supposed to be places where people assume you're going to use for storage or, for
Instead of your
cars.
car, yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. Okay, so that's pretty good advice on that.
Hey, Patti, I'm curious. I'm seeing a lot of articles and stuff in magazines about all this high-tech equipment that people can buy for their homes now. High-tech locks and security cameras and things where, like, if someone walks up to your door, that you can even see it from your phone. Who's about to ring
I
your
saw that on Shark
doorbell.
Tank.
And then there's that thing with the Nest thermometer, and there's all this high-tech stuff. Are you seeing that coming into some of the high-end homes you're listing these days? Is that becoming more popular?
Some. No, we don't see it that often, but
Not that
it's
often.
definitely, I think it's the function of age I think we're going to see it more and more and more. The younger generation is much more techy. And then of
Tacky or
techie.
Oh.
No, sorry guys. Sorry, younger
run your home
generation.
from your iPad.
No.
What was the thing about the thermometer?
There's you've not heard of the Nest thermometer? It's
Nest
I haven't
thermometer?
either.
No, what is
Oh,
that?
you guys, you old
Live in a cave, I'm telling you.
Nest is a company recently purchased by Google for billions and billions of dollars, and they've got a high-tech thermometer that learns how you like to live and automatically programs your heat and HVAC going on and off at certain times. It's very, very cool.
It's climate control.
Wow.
It is. It's absolutely. It's
Okay.
electronic.
So that little thing I have on
climate
there
control for your house.
where I can push to say keep it at 70 degrees.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that.
Well, but it's if you've had one of the older box-like
Yeah.
programmable, almost nobody knows how to program those things.
Yeah.
My wife has never in years and decades been able to figure
No,
out
I just
how
kinda
to
go
do that.
Up, down, down,
But
down, down,
in
down.
theory, they will turn it on at a certain time, at a certain temperature, leave
Okay.
it on, etc. And Nest does all this electronically now. They've got an app
Cool.
built inside, so it's very cool.
Turn on your fireplace and all that fun stuff. Very, very
Yeah, I mean, in the Bay Area, there isn't that much building. So all of the
Yeah.
new stuff would be only in new construction, and we don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
much of it. And it would only be in the new construction that's, really, I'd say over 2 million.
Patti, in case listeners have more questions about what they can do to get their house ready for sale, or if they obviously want to hire you because you are the #1 agent around, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the show, you literally, your statistics are that you are the #1 agent. There's a reason for that. How do people get a hold of you?
I'm at 415-722-4842. And you can really make some money by doing the correct pre-sale prep of your house. It's a really important step.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Worth its weight in gold.
Tell you what, Mark, we're going to cut to our third commercial break. When
Sure.
we come back, we've got a very interesting question for you that has to do with joint ventures, whether or not you do them. Okay, here's our third and final commercial break. The movie version of The Twilight Zone is best remembered for the tragic accident that claimed the life of actor Vic Morrow. Remember the TV show Combat? How did he die? All right. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. The movie version of The Twilight Zone is best remembered for the tragic accident that claimed the life of actor Vic Morrow. How did he die? All right, stay with us. The Best of Investing. We'll be right back.
By the way, I did get a call from somebody, I forgot all about this, that I did get a call from this, and it ended up just the craziest situation. But
We don't have crazy listeners.
It was crazy, I know. Well, what he's doing, he's based out of Napa, and it's not anything I'm behind, and it's not going to work in Marin. But I was like, good for you, your heart's there, he's wanting to put mobile homes on properties for affordable housing. And I'm like, that's all about zoning, and it's not going to really work in Marin. And no, I really don't want to meet you so much about that and have a drink over it. It's like not my issue. Really.
Have a drink.
It's not my passion.
He must have seen your picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
So then my sister did this stupid thing on Facebook, and I probably shouldn't have done it, but I was like, oh, I'll support her. So she said, sometimes when I'm really bored, I go in a sleeping bag and put oil all over me, and I slug all around the kitchen floor like a slug. And I'm like, what is up with you? It doesn't even sound like her, little Virginia girl in the cul-de-sac. And so then she takes the top 5 answers of the people and say in a private message, well, your tag, now you have to do too. This is for breast cancer awareness. And I'm like, oh God, I got to support her. I might as well do it. So I posted that. Then the guy sends me these texts, like I've got this.
The same guy?
This guy. Then because we were done with our conversation, and this was like weeks later, but now we're
Stalkers.
Facebook. Now we have a relationship as Facebook friends. I totally forgot. And he's like, I have this vision of this happening, and I'm like, no. I already took it down. It was something my sister wanted to do. Fine, like we're done. I'm like, boom. And then he starts sending me like some kind of porn thing. And I was like, I don't know what it was. It was something very, very suggestive. And I'm like, I go, you know
That's a
what?
little creepy.
I just, I go, we gotta stop this right now.
That was it.
Yes, we
How
will.
come he hasn't done that for me?
Yeah, I just said, you know what? Please don't contact me again. And then he
Yeah.
kept on doing it. And he goes, I don't know why I contacted you. You don't respond anyway. And it's like,
Oh,
well, I'm
wow.
done.
The only
But-
it was funny because the only time I had someone who was a little wacky, and that wasn't too bad, is actually, she called, blah, 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 and when I answered, she said, yeah, honestly, the only reason I listen to the show is I like hearing your voice.
That's a
You
lot.
go, okay, if that's the
Here's that
worst
time
threshold,
value.
yeah.
That's not that bad.
That's not
I mean,
bad.
like little
yeah,
five
yeah,
things.
yeah, I haven't had anybody
Two,
stalk
Have you
well,
seen
I
my
think it was
picture
3,000.
too?
Three.
No, it was weird, but it was such a suggestive thing to post. But I'm
This
like,
is,
I gotta do it for my sister, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
aware of like my presence.
Oh, you're
You know,
very,
as a
you're very
professional?
good. Yes, you're very,
Yeah.
very good.
That
I was
was
like,
bad.
why did I do
Uh,
that?
Just
Yeah, I've done
17,040 stupid things.
I stupidly, I went to
So
Home
stuff is
Depot
way
today
more
to buy
expensive
something,
today.
and the lady was all,
and
hey, if you sign up for
inflation depending on
a
what
Home
the
Depot
item
card,
is, yeah.
you
So
get
that same
$50
Camaro
off
now
of
would
this
cost
purchase.
30,000. But
I
then
go, how long is it gonna take? 3 minutes. I go,
technology.
3 minutes?
Yeah.
go back and
And
watch
they pull your
days.
credit.
Well,
It was
that's-
all
I
roll-up
totally
window.
I
forgot
know,
about
I'm
the
really
part.
careful.
Oh,
Strip
it's gonna bring
card.
around like.
It does.
I know. It's not that I've gotten very good credit, but I just totally forgot that I go.
It's like 2 points in
Well, that's not so bad.
real recent. If it's I know.
Yeah, it's a mistake. Okay. Can you read?
That's not these slugs.
Yeah, we won't go on the air with that. Okay, here you go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host. Mark Hunt and Patti Bowen are here, and Tim Staley is still here with us. Okay, here's the third and final trivia question. The movie version of The Twilight Zone is best remembered for the tragic accident that claimed the life of actor Vic Morrow. How did he die?
He got too close a haircut from a helicopter blade.
That's right. He got decapitated. There's a fun.
Lovely.
Yeah, there's a fun thing for you.
Ah,
Didn't
with that,
2 kids died too, as I remember in that. Not so much fun.
Can't laugh at that.
On that pleasant note, Mark, under what circumstances? Here's a question we received. Under what circumstances will you do a joint venture type deal?
so my company is Pacific Private Money. We're based in the Bay Area here. We are a non-bank lender, non-bank real estate lender, sometimes referred to as a hard money lender or private money lender, but we essentially fill that large void left by the banks when they kind of exited a lot of the marketplace and back in 2009. And we've actually had a very thriving business the last 5 years, making loans to consumers and real estate investors when the banks say no. And so with that background, we do generally fairly conservative lending for the most part. Some people believe that if it's hard money, then it's like aggressive money or high percentage money or 100% financing, and that's actually not the case. Our typical loan is no more than 70% of the purchase price or 70% loan to value, whereas banks have historically been very comfortable at 80%. But in the private sector, where we use private capital for the real estate loans, generally we're at 70% loan to value or less. Yet we're quite a bit more expensive than the banks. Or in the Bay Area, a privately financed loan you can expect to pay 10%, but the money is really a stopgap measure. It's there for short term. Most of our loans are paid off within 6 months or a year, sometimes even sooner than that. It's usually used to close a real estate transaction that maybe is going to be flipped quickly, or maybe is going to be refinanced with bank financing after they've made repairs to the property. So we do have as our clients, as our borrower clients, many real estate investors in the Bay Area who've come to us for capital. And so the question was, do we ever joint venture? And what joint venture typically means in real estate is that we would supply maybe all of the capital or 100% financing for a borrower to essentially buy the property and even supply the additional funds for the holding costs and the remodel costs, and then split the profits with them. Now, the answer to the question, does Pacific Private Money joint venture with real estate investors? The answer is well, the short answer is no, we don't. We're primarily a lender. We primarily focus on providing very fast, friendly, and reliable service to people who are in a pinch and need to close quickly. That's really our market niche. But we do get questions. People call us all the time and wonder if we do 100% financing. So how do we handle those phone calls? And herein lies the answer. there are actually a lot of private individuals in the Bay Area who will provide their capital on a joint venture basis or some other type of consideration that you would agree to beforehand, and they will provide their capital behind one of our 70% loans. So we've done a lot of transactions in the last couple of years where we've done where Pacific Private Money provided the 70% acquisition first position financing, and then a private party would come in behind us and they would secure their loan in second position. So we call it basically a combination first and second financing, and it would provide some amount equal to, well, up to 100% of the cost of that project to buy it, remodel it, and flip it. Not always 100%, because sometimes the borrower didn't need 100%. Sometimes the borrower maybe needed 80% of the total project or 90% of the total project.
But your company, though, is going to be very conservative on your end of it.
Right. Pacific Private Money is not a lender in that aggressive space, but we have in our database, at last count, over 50 individuals, and some of them are operating as small businesses throughout the Bay Area that provide what's sometimes referred to in a couple of different ways. Sometimes it's called gap financing. Sometimes it's called a SAM loan, S-A-M, which stands for Shared Appreciation Mortgage, which is just a fancy way of saying we're going to split the profits with you. Or in commercial, it's been for years called mezzanine financing, or mezz debt for short. So that's a little primer there for you on how you can still buy, fix, and flip property with none of your own money. It's not quite no money down, but it's really 100% OPM, or other people's money. And so there is still the opportunity to to get involved in a real estate project with none of your own money. But bear in mind the cost of that gap financing, the difference that you need, is very expensive, and a 50-50 split of the profits is generally considered to be pretty expensive money. So, but we do it a lot because, and why would somebody do that? Well, if you can't get the money and you want to get your foot in the door and get experience and get some, generate some profits in maybe the initial first, second, or third project, ultimately that will provide you with the capital to do your own project. So it's really a great way for people who have the ability to find a project and put a team together, and they have the ability to execute, but they just don't have the capital. There is that option. So for if you're interested in finding out more about how you might be able to take advantage of 100% financing, do give us a call. You can call this weekend, leave a message. We'll call you back on Monday. The number is 415-883-2150. Again, 415-883-2150. And our website is pacificprivatemoney.com.
Very good. Next week we'll have to get into your articles. So we have just a minute to go. Any last minute questions or comments, people?
Thanks, Tim, for the insurance information on the Obamacare. That was pretty interesting.
You're entirely welcome.
I got to tell you, my eyes have always glazed over whenever I've read an article or heard anybody talk about this. It's been such a difficult topic for many people. And like you said earlier, you got the Republicans in now, and are they going to change it, repeal it? Make it easier, make it more complicated.
I think the insurance companies did that on purpose because as people get frustrated, they get stressed, and when you get that stressed, then they get sick, and they go see the doctor. That's exactly about it.
And as people stress, they just say, just give me anything.
Yeah, that's true, too. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
There are more plastic flamingos in the U.S. than real ones. Now,
I believe that.
Still, I thought that those went out in the 60s.
That's because we live in California. Let's go to the south.
Let's go, Florida.
Florida.
My grandmother used to say. And during your lifetime, you'll eat about 60,000 pounds of food. That's the weight of about 6 elephants. So no wonder my wife wants me to go on a diet. I tell you,
Getting hungry.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy there. All right, Tim Staley, again, thank you for
You're
joining
welcome.
us.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully some people will call you and inundate you as to questions with Obamacare, and then you'll say, I hate these guys. Why did they ever have me on the show?
I'm happy to help.
All right. Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.
I was going to say Happy Thanksgiving, but then I didn't know when it was